Hi, today we are going to be learning about lymphatic therapy self-treatment. I decided to make these videos to help you do your self-care at home, or if you're a new person, you've never come in for a treatment, and you're just simply finding us online, this can help you for your lymphatic drainage therapy. The reason why I'm teaching these classes is I want people to feel empowered that they can do a huge amount for their body without even seeing a lymphatic therapist, although I will highly suggest seeing a very well-versed lymphatic drainage therapist. They're hard to come by, and at times people cannot afford to go in for lymphatic therapy. That's one of the reasons I teach these classes. The other reason I teach these classes, and I'm deciding to make this available online, is for our clients who come in on journeys, who can have something that our goal is to teach them, as they go through their immersion programs and go through full healing, that they then have the tools to take care of themselves for the rest of their life. Sometimes they may choose to come in for a lymphatic massage, but I always say movement is medicine. Lymph is moved through movement, and that is why it is a critical leg in the lymphatic drainage theory practice that I teach with Japina method lymphatics. So today we are going to use a combination of stretching bands, some balls, but most importantly, we want to be able to move through all these techniques with our breath. So anytime you are doing these techniques and you feel like you're losing your breath, I want you to pause and please be present. When you're present, that is when the therapy happens. We are focusing on engaging the subtle tissues of the body, of the myofascial system and the lymphatic system specifically, where it starts in the top of the skin tissue, and that's where the stretchy bands are very helpful. This technique that we're doing today is not focusing on doing so much muscle building as it is doing on muscle pumping. The body has its own natural pumpers, starting with the diaphragm, which is right below the lower rib cage here. Above the navel here, we have a lot of lymphatic vessels that go down to the navel and over to the left-hand side. The thoracic duct goes from the left side all the way down, and this duct deals with a lot of assisting the lymphatic system. So starting on the clavicle up in the upper chest, this is the first chamber we want to work on, which is the clavicle, above the clavicle, below, from the first rib all the way down to the 12th rib, which goes all the way down to your waistline. So our diaphragm and our rib cage works in a 360-degree way. So I am looking for full chest expansion and then full chest deflation. So you may see this opening and closing. And then I'm looking for the diaphragm to be like a jellyfish, where it's like, you could think of a jellyfish, or you could think of a hot air balloon where it's rising, and then as we're exhaling, everything's going down and up and moving in a pumping action. The diaphragm pushes everything down into the colon, into the pelvic floor, which stimulates the deep lymph into the bowl of the pelvis. So I want you to visualize your body opening, expanding, and plunging and coming back through. So this is sort of the movement that we're looking for with the band. So as I'm doing this, I'm already starting to do my own breath. Now you notice I breathe out of my mouth. I found it very helpful for clients to use the nostrils to make a very audible inhale, which helps open up the chest, and then a fast exhale through the mouth to help to stimulate parasympathetic, which is the rest and restore part of the lymphatic system, trying to come out of the fight flight, which is busy on the highway getting the kids to school. Rest and restore is coming home, taking your shoes off, and taking a break. So the vagus nerve starts from the neck. It goes all the way down, and that is the nerve that tells us which side of the lane we're on. This technique, whether you do one part of what I do, all of what we do, integrating the breath work is what allows that vagus to go into the rest and restore. So I really want you to be attentive to the opening and the closing of the rib cage. Now, I want to talk a moment about the shoulders, just because we used to hear, don't breathe into your shoulders, don't breathe into your neck. I actually teach my clients and you to actually breathe into the clavicle. And I want you to breathe all the way through the neck. I don't want you to lift up. I want you to lift wide through the shoulders, through the armpit. I want this rib cage to open and then close. In between the ribs, there's the little intercostal muscles, and there's also little lymph vessels, things that are pumping out waste in the body. In between the rib cage and the lungs, there's a tiny little bit of fluid through there, which the body is actually expulsing the fluid that we want to cleanse through the body and bringing fresh blood into the body. So the foundation of this work is to push out old blood, help the lymphatic system move down the river, and let the fresh blood, water fluid come in. And that is ideally our whole foundation. It's not so much that we're trying to drain and get rid of everything. We're wanting to filter the blood, bring fresh oxygen in, and remove the old waste and deoxygenated breath. That's a mouthful. So hopefully that makes sense. There's our diaphragmatic breathing, and then exhaling through the mouth. And then you can go into regular breathing through the back of the nostrils, through the soft palate, where we're just breathing in and out of the nostrils. Some of the foundations of this work come from the philosophy of yoga practice. Some of it is from Pilates. Some of it is from my background as calisthenics. My experience, I've been doing Ashtanga practice and yoga practices for over 20 years and healed my own body fully and completely, and continue to the practices, because if you're not going to practice, you won't get the benefit of the practice. My practice has changed a lot over the decades of having children and a family life and having a business. So this technique is very much designed for the householder that is very busy, that can get themselves into a lymphatic movement in a quick amount of time. So with that being said, we will now get started. So I'm going to go through some of the tools. You may have seen all of these tools before. This is just a loop stretchy band, and here is a long band. And then we will be using a larger round sort of air bowl, and a more strong trigger point bowl that has little knobbies on it, because this is going to get more into the fascia. This is more broad. So we work from a broad area and then we get more granular. Sometimes we're going to work more granular and then get more broad. It just depends. Either way, we're always going to integrate all of these things throughout our treatment. So first part of the routine is working on the anatomy of the lymphatics. So I want you to think more. We're going to learn about the geography of how the lymphatic system works. And the way that I teach is a little bit more deeper and more dynamic, because I, in this class, not only want to teach you how to move, I want you to actually know what your lymphatic system is and how it works in your body. It's really like this big ocean, and then there's rivers, there's side streets, and then there's bridges that go over all of that, so that you can do deeper, more therapeutic work, or you can do just broad light work. That all went over your head, don't worry about it, because we'll keep revisiting all of this as we learn together. So bringing our band up into the top of your thighs. I'm going to, as I practice and show you things, we'll learn why we're doing these techniques. So the bands are going to immediately, as you stretch wide, I don't want you to think so much about using your muscle to come out as much as engaging the skin on the outside of the thigh, and then taking a breath in, and then on an exhale, hold your legs out here, and then you're going to do a little bit of a pump, kind of like a calisthenic pump, where we're always using rhythm and movement. So it's not up and down, and we want it to be very balanced. So it's more like a pumping action, because the lymphatic system is a pump. So anything and everything we do, we use rhythm, we use pumping. You can go slow, but make sure that is a consistent pump. If you want to go faster, you can do that, but always be consistent. Okay. So we're waking up the pelvis first. Okay. And then we can slowly release there. You do want to feel a burn come through here. I'll show you what that looks like on the side here. So if on my side, it's important that your posture is really important. This chair is great. I get them at Home Depot. They're just like a little fold chair. I like it because it's really solid and soft, but firm. Coming to the side, this little arm thing you have here, you can hold on to it so that if you feel kind of wobbly, you always have support. You can lift your toes up here and notice that I'm coming more into neutral, into my spine here, and pumping to the side. So this is what it looks like from the side. Put your hands on your knees and just be looking forward and do little pumps here. You can ideally also turn the chair this way, but just for convenience sake and for the sake of trying to make the transition simple, I'm showing you some of the things that you can do. Coming back to center, you can actually walk your legs to the center, and these are some options. Okay. So other things you can do with your band is bring them down to your calf muscles and pump through the calf. Another pumping movement here is through the ankles. This is a very big place that we want to work as the ankle. So you can come in, squeeze, flex and point, and then do the other side. Do little circles. Again, the resistance is great because it activates the entire calf muscle, which helps to pump things back up to the heart. Okay. So coming back to center, we will add one more dynamic band here. I always talk about opening up all the 12 joints of the body because in the joint spaces, that's where you hold a lot of lymph nodes. They like to hug into what I call caves because they are protected in that area. And also that is where the lymph nodes pick up all the fluid from the vessels that come from the skin and the bone, muscle, tissue. The lymph vessels are everywhere. They bring them to the nodes, and then the nodes decide what they need to do and where they need to go from there. So the highways are called the anastomosis, are across the chest, down the sides, and right by the pelvis, and then it's the same in the back. So it's by the back, so the back of the back sides, and then by the sacral region. So the anastomosis allows us to pass through different pathways underneath so that we can get a very fast drain of stimulation so that we can drain from the right shoulder to the left shoulder or from the upper body to the lower body. So, for example, if you're very puffy in the upper body but not in the lower body, we can stimulate the lower body and then take the lymphatic fluid and help drain it down to an area that's less full of fluid. And that's basically what we are working on here. And also just generally on wellness, we're waking up and stimulating all these pathways. So we're like, kind of wake up, get to work so that they can help move the fluid through the body, especially if you've been sitting all day. You're going to have a lazy lymphatic system. So we're like kind of waking up the system so we can say, wake up, let's get moving, let's pump the old blood out, and let's get the fresh blood in. So this exercise, we will have, I'll kind of come to an angle so you can see. We're going to be shoulder height. Again, I'm thinking of my posture. We're going to be shoulder height here and looking forward. Now, when you come, bring the band, if we're not pulling the shoulders or coming forward like this, you want to have the scapula down the back, and then you want to have your toes pointed or flat, and gently hold the band. If you see that your knuckles are getting white, you're going too deep. So you're gently holding the band right where your arm width apart. And then inhale and exhale. You're going to pump out and open up the upper highways through the whole thoracic area, the chest, the breast, the whole shoulder, head, face, and neck start to get stimulated. And then again, find your breath. Inhale. Exhale. inhale just the nostrils. Exhale just the nostrils. Now, when you exhale just through the nostrils, you're pushing the breath through the soft palate. So you'll feel a wind tunnel moving through the back of your head. It's very helpful if instead of being like this, you're neutral and if slightly tilt a little bit forward to open up this soft palate. Okay, so we just do enough to wake up the body. And then bring your arms up and over, nice and wide, and stretch. Now we're going to work both of the sides, front and back, on the top here. You can actually adjust, do a little bend, and bring it lower down onto your ankles if you want. So, again, you want to focus on being present and feel again the breath. So with this one, we are opening up. I always say visualize the breastbone opening up. We're opening up the rib cage. We're splitting the rib cage to open up all the drains that go through the left side of the heart and under and around the clavicle. So inhale, open the chest, and exhale. And now do a pump and really visualize that opening and closing both through the rib cage and down the sides. So again, this is not a muscle exercise or really trying to pull, because then you're not going to engage the first part of the lymph, which is the superficial skin, down to the deep lymph into the pumping of the rib cage. So do that again. You can even think, if you want to think of how many, I think like 5 to 10 is good. Again, it's just enough to stimulate. Okay. You can go further back and do a nice stretch. Let your band get nice and soft. And you can come all the way back here. And then bring your right arm up. And you're going to bring your left arm behind. And then you can bring the band away from each other. You can walk your hands further up. And then you're welcome to, like now I feel like I'm done with my little band. And I will show you right from here. We're going forward and back. And I will do a standing posture where you can see what this looks like from the back as well. Okay. Well, I always want to do the right and left side. So this is working a lot of the back anastomosis. It's also pumping this whole right armpit and side right here, including the breast lymph, which is right in here where the nipple line is. So it's grabbing your band. Reach in. Switch to the other side. When you switch to the other side, you want to take your band and go all the way up and over and then drop to the other side. Like it's nice to kind of tuck the pelvis in, bring it back, do a little stretching, and then reset. 1, you're pulling the right arm down now. You could also pull the left arm up. You could do both at the same time. Explore all those options. Okay, and then let it go. And you can bring it back and around. So bringing things back and around and doing all that, if you can't do it, it's fine. But all of the things that we're doing here is actually creating range of motion in the arm. And again, it's stimulating the arms above the heart. So now it's draining. And so these are all really good ways to stretch the 12 joints of the body. If you're limited to just being a chair and you can't stand, that's why we are doing this in a chair, so that you can see that you could do this in a work chair. This is all really beneficial. Now the lower leg, you're going to take your foot, take your band, and you're going to put it underneath the pad of your foot here. You can explore with putting it under the arch of the foot, but you're going to get more benefit if you're under the pad of the foot. But then again, I always encourage you to explore different placements. So taking your band, we're going to pull the leg up, wiggle yourself to the front of your chair here. Okay. Grab your band with each arm. Now you're not cranking again. Remember, we're staying aligned. And you're going to bring your knee all the way up. Inhale, exhale. Now you're pumping. I call it pumping the well. We're pumping the water out of the well. So push the leg down. And we are working the right inguinal right here and all the way up to the stomach and diaphragm. Again, find your breath. Bring your bands out, gently hold them. And 2. You could also hold your bands together and do that. I like holding them separate because now, not just am I pumping here, when I go down, I'm actually pumping again the sides of the body. So I could tap, say 5 to 10 times. And on the down, let go of your band and then go to the other side. Find your breath. Take a moment. Lift your left knee and pump. Quiet. Now, when you're pumping, again, you're tapping your toe and you're letting the band bring you back up, down and up, down and up, down and up. I'm using my arms too. Okay? Down and up, down and up. Now, pumping a little bit more. You should feel this through your hips. To make it more dynamic, we can take this band, pop it back under, and over on top of your legs here. Okay, and then put this underneath your right foot. Okay. So now we're isolating this entire right hip here. Down and up, down and up. So now I feel it really deep. If you want to make that harder, you can also bring your leg a lot higher. Stretch wide, down and up, down and up, down and up. Keep going till it burns. If you're not getting enough, you probably need a stronger band because this is like a medium pressure. But again, as long as you're not forcing it, that's okay. So we're going to go to the other side. Down and up, down and up. Breath. Down and up. So the breaths will actually come very naturally when you're pumping the right way because we are stimulating the vagus nerve. So we'll take a little band off here and now we'll move into some upper body. So bringing your band up and over. You can hang it around you. And now we're going to work the back arm and the sides at the same time. On the side, we will be gliding along the legs. So again, tune them with your pelvis, feel it here, and glide down, hold. Inhale and exhale. Now we're going to talk more about the stomach and the belly. These are belly holds. So you're going to inhale, exhale, and then keep the belly button tucked in and lift the chest, lift the sternum. Now slowly release the band while keeping the belly tucked in. Visualize all the old air and breath coming out of your body and then let go. Come a little bit further back to make the next one a little bit more difficult. Inhale. Strongly through the nostrils. And now this time you can exhale through the nostrils. Hold. Slowly out. Your gaze can be down your nose or in front of you. Okay. We are going to move on to a new amazing self-care tool, which is going to be our bowl and the 2 little bowls here. These are the 2 bowls we're going to move towards now. You have a lot of options. So the little bowl is great to start on your feet. It can get on your foot. And we are working from this line, all 5 zones of the feet. So the pinky all the way to the toe and all the way from the toe to the pinky. If this is too intense, you can use a lighter bowl, and we call this rinsing, and just use a more broad bowl. So if you have plantar fasciitis and this is too much, you can work with a lot more of a softer bowl and open up this way first, and then go to the smaller bowl and work each of these zones like this. So we are kind of like bird on the perch, squeezing into the bowl, rinsing it through, squeezing into the bowl, rinsing through, squeezing into the bowl. So you're going to crunch. So say this is your foot. You're actually squeezing the foot into the bowl. As you roll forward, you're opening up the foot, squeezing into the bowl, opening up the foot, squeezing into the ball, toe, opening up the foot. Now go, if this is your foot, you're going to rinse, you're going to take the bowl from here to there. That is a reflexology line for lymphatic drainage. So really get those all up in the toes and crunch under and stretch your toes up. Crunch under and stretch the toes up, and then go below. So right where you bend at this point of your foot, and then you're going to go under that with the little ball. So I like the little ball. You can do very specific work. Now, it's very important you remember to breathe. So we're going to take a breath and exhale. Now find a point that feels tender in your heel, because that is your pelvis. And just spend a little time there. And now you can lean forward, find a tender point, and just stay there for a moment. So it kind of looks like this. And release. Okay. So that's the exercise for the ball, for the foot. To work on the under the thighs, we can take the larger ball and do some really good work underneath the thighs here. That helps to open up the hamstrings. And again, it opens up all of our pumping muscles. Opens up the hip joint. You can move your ball lower down. Flex and point. Make it more dynamic. Bring your band. Reach and stretch. Point and flex. Point and flex. You can actually make it a little more dynamic if you are able to do this. Just a little under the band and find a little point that you can work. Then point. Hold. You're bending at the ankle joints. Tighten your right thigh. Relax your arms. Pull, hold, squeeze, squeeze, release. Bring your leg down. And then bring your band up. And you would do the other side. You can continue before you go to the other side. I'm like, oh, this feels really good. So that's what happens when you start doing this work, is you just start unwinding, and then the body will tell you what it wants to do to relax. Okay. So that was a little unwinding there. My leg decided to do. So this is all about learning capable. That's all good exercise. It's all about learning to unwind the body in a way that feels good. Some other things you can do with your ball, inner thigh, is squeeze the ball into the inner thigh, and this can drain the inner thigh here. So hold and squeeze the ball and just rock from side to side. Again, finding your gaze point. Where you look is where you go. So we can find ourselves leaning forward or back. We want to kind of be neutral. Find a place that you fix your eyes on and just stay there. You can come into a side twist here while we're squeezing the ball and rinse out the spine. So you're going to turn to the left and look to the right. Flatten your feet, flex your toes, flatten your feet, relax, and hold. Stay really straight and parallel. If you can't come that far, just go as far as you can. Hold on to the chair, turn and now look behind you. And hold. Fix your gaze. I'm fixing my gaze on the tree behind me. And then slowly release. Bring both your hands onto your knees. Squeeze again. And then slowly glide to the other side. Walking your hands up and getting a nice twist. Hold that twist. Keeping yourself facing forward with your body, but twisting to the right. And again, if you can just only do this, that's fine. What's nice about the chair is you can straighten your back and you can hold the chair to help you twist. But again, never crank. You want to go to the first barrier. For example, if I go to my right, I start to get tight here. If I go to my left, I start to get tight here. So now I know my right side needs more work. So I'm going to turn to my right, go to my first barrier, stay there. My gaze is more here because my neck feels tight to this side. So I'm going to start there and then I'm going to let my body do its own breath work because your body will tell you what it needs when you tune into it and you get present. I'm gazing at a really beautiful tree over there. Taking my eyes out to the sky, back into the front window, back out. So you can really spend some time working your ocular nerves. We're looking at screens all the time. So our eyes get very sore. If you actually look to the right and left, you'll notice there's pain, tension, because screens cause your eyes to get an atrophy. If you don't use it, they're muscles. And behind the eyes, there's all this lymph in the brain through the sinuses. I just noticed just by doing my eyes, my throat started draining. I felt fluid moving down. Again, this is all very natural. Our body is designed to cleanse itself. So we are giving it the opportunity by using what God gave us, which is movement. We're designed to move, climb trees, swim rivers. We weren't designed to sit in chairs all day and fold over screens. And that's really why I feel that I want to teach this, because it's easy and it's in a chair. And unfortunately, we don't all get the opportunity to be outside and do dynamic movement with our bodies, which is what we're designed for. So right now I feel a little bit of a release in my back. So I'm going to follow my body. I can feel a lot of tension through my back, and my body is telling me it wants to move a little bit forward and then go into a twist. So I'm going to follow my body. So this again is part of the fascia unwinding. And now look how far I could twist, not by forcing, but by listening. So that concludes the chair stuff. And there's just so much more you can do. You can fall forward. You can go into a twist here. I mean, it's endless. So as we do more classes, we have more chances. But I'm inviting you to, well, what does my body want to do? You know, does it want to do this? Can it do that? Oh, that's interesting. Really explore the body. I'm just giving you ideas. My body just wants to keep going. So it's very happy to be twisting. Oh, 2 to 3 adjustments. Feels good. Okay. Lots of yoga. And now, my body is twisting now. Wow, we opened the diaphragm right there. Okay. Now my body's going into rebound. Rebound is when the body finally gets to a place where you've listened and gotten present enough that it can do what it needs to do to get rid of the stress and the tension. This is nothing I planned, but this is what fascia yoga is about. This is what lymphatic self-treatment is about. It's about helping your body come back into homeostasis and balance. The body wants to be balanced. If you get lost, close your eyes. Get quiet and just listen. Okay, that's our class. Hopefully that helps you to get some ideas of how to take care of yourself.